Hi, everybody. This is Coach Art. We're just waiting for our student. So if you guys can just sit tight, thanks a lot for joining us. Appreciate it. And if you just sit tight for a little bit, we'll get started in a couple minutes. Welcome, everybody. Appreciate you joining us today. I'm Coach Art with Eagle Lock, and I am so very excited to be interviewing one of our esteemed students. And I will have her introduce herself. But this is a special session because she has made it to a very esteemed school. And I'm not going to spoil the surprise, but we're just excited to have her on and to really find out all the things that she's done. One in our program, but also all the things she's done in her high school career that got her to the point of making it to schools and a number of schools, frankly, too. So I'm going to turn it over, and I want to welcome Juliana to our session tonight. So Juliana, first of all, thank you so much for joining us. Um, I feel like I personally know you just because of all the essays that we've revised, and again, seeing you before as well. And I will just say that I'm just so impressed. I really am. I'm impressed by all the accomplishments that you've gone through, and you just your background, and you're a great writer. So, so you did well in your essays. Okay, I just want to let you know. So I'm just so proud of you, proud that that our coaching team and myself as well were able to help you. But first of all, I'm wanted to start off with is introducing yourself, who you are, where you're from, all that kind of stuff. So one,
Mhm.
I'm going to turn it over to you, Juliana.
Okay. Hi, my name is Juliana. I'm going to be joining MIT's class of 2029. Um, I'm a Mongolian American and I'm based here in California.
Great, great. So I assume then that you actually accepted, or did you sign on the dotted line and you are going to be MIT-ish? MIT, is that correct?
Um, like personally, I'm basically committed, but I haven't gotten the official form yet.
Okay. But
Yeah.
it's, I mean, again, the acceptance letter was in the mail, basically, if you want to
Yeah.
call it, and you received it and you were so excited. Okay. So, first of all, congratulations. That's incredible. It's a very difficult school to get into, of course. And so the first thing that I wanted to kind of ask you about is let's talk about, first of all, your academics.
Mhm.
Okay. So, first of all, what major did you apply to MIT?
I applied as a computer science and engineering major.
Computer science engineering, and I assume that is the major that they accepted you in, or was it a different major?
That's the major they accepted me on, but they
Right.
don't admit by major, I think.
Right, of course, yes. So you go through it. So, okay. So, first of all, let's talk about why computer science. What was it? Why does that drive you? Why does that interest you?
I've had a lot of experience with like video games and
Okay.
like playing them from like a very young
Okay.
age, but
Okay.
as I like got to like middle school, high school-ish, I
Uh-huh.
started getting more into like developing the games myself and like
Okay.
doing the 3D art behind
Okay.
the games. So that's where I started, and then I got more into the programming aspect, joining high school and doing like taking computer science classes, and then
Hmm.
I think from there I figured out that I wanted to do computer science, but more so in video game development.
Okay. And that's interesting because, before and that a lot of people were kind of frowning on. They're like, "Ooh, playing video games. What does that do?" Right?
Yeah.
But curious for you, what aspects of playing video games, how did that kind of open your mind? How did that kind of promote with respect to your curiosity of getting into computer science?
I think it was just really fun for me to like
Mhm.
kind of play around with developing, especially.
Yeah,
Playing the games is fun in itself and you spend a lot of
right.
time on it, but once you get onto the flip side, there's a lot more that you can do as a like someone creating these games. And then
Got it.
because of that and like just like the technology and kind of arts together, I didn't want to do
Mhm.
something where it's just like, oh, I sit at a computer and program all day. I wanted to do
Mm,
something where like I could do more creative things with.
sure, sure. So
So,
there was the technical pieces of just things, how are they move and work and everything else, but then there was the artistic piece
mhm.
that added to creativity. Is that kind of what that you were looking at?
Yeah, yeah.
Which really kind of, I guess, opened up your mind saying, wow, there's a lot of opportunities that I could do by learning how to, I guess, program, but also learning about all the interaction between the different systems, right?
Mhm.
Cool. Okay. So, give us the rundown. What was the classes that you took that got you to MIT? So what were the classes that and I will say is I would love for you to say what was, well, let's first of all, let's start out with the classes. What classes did you take from freshman year to senior year that you remember? Um,
Okay.
Go ahead.
In ninth grade, I took like the basic ninth grade classes. So biology, that's a requirement at
Mhm.
my school,
Right.
PE,
Okay.
and I took regular Lang, but there was advanced Lang. I transferred in the middle of my freshman year, so I didn't have the opportunity to just like skip
Got it.
over. And then
Okay.
I took advanced geo, and ninth grade was basically just the standard freshman requirements. We weren't allowed to take any APs or honors in our first
Okay.
year of high school. So I'd say
Okay.
like
And yeah. Sorry, good.
so like ninth grade was pretty general, like pretty basic.
Got it. And your grades pretty good?
Yeah, ninth grade was A's.
All right, cool, cool. Okay. And so so you got through ninth grade, had like standard biology and your math,
Oh,
geometry, correct?
math was algebra 2. We have something
Algebra
called
2. Okay.
integrated integrated 2, so it's like
Yeah,
al actually wait.
integrated math 2.
It's like algebra 2 and geometry like mixed together. Like I don't know.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Yeah, integrated math 2 basically, right?
Mhm.
Cool. Okay, great. Okay, so then we're going into 10th grade. So what was the classes there that you took in 10th grade?
In 10th grade, that's when I got more into like
Hmm.
like more APs and honors. So I took AP World, Honors Chem, AP Computer Science
Hmm.
Principles, and then Honors
Okay.
Language Arts. And then for my regular classes, I took American Sign Language because I needed to do my language credit. And
Sure.
then I took aquatics for my PE requirement. And then there was one more class, but I can't remember what it was. But it was just like a
Like
standard, like,
graph
yeah,
communication or something.
graphic communications. I needed to do my art requirement.
Got it. Now, when you took AP Comp Sci principles, was that kind of your first exposure to, let's say, programming or so?
The summer before 10th grade, I did the Girls Who Code program for
Okay.
web development. So I had some exposure, but then in this class, I had more like, it was more conceptual, I'd say. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's normally what computer science principles are, more conceptual versus CSA, which is
Which is
a little
more,
bit more
yeah.
hands-on. Exactly. Okay. And then, so we always say junior year is the toughest year.
Mhm.
And so, what did you take in your junior year for your classes?
I took AP US History. I took AP Lang.
Okay.
I
Okay.
took Honors Physics 1.
Hmm. Okay.
And
So you
then
took honors physics one. Got it.
and then I took AP. I think there was one more AP.
One more
Um,
AP.
one more AP.
So I had AP Lang,
Hmm.
AP Push,
Hmm.
AP Comp Sci A,
Oh yeah, AP
um,
Comp Sci
and
A. Yes.
and I don't have enough. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think it
So
was
out of
also
that, what was your favorite class?
out of that,
What's
my
that?
favorite class I think was AP Language Arts.
AP Language
Just
Arts.
because
Oh, it's interesting. And why AP Language Arts? I love everybody with the hands. Please give us the reactions. That's awesome. So why AP Language Arts?
AP Language Arts, just because the teacher was amazing and I didn't really like writing, but she made it so much more better.
Wow. So that's interesting because, you're going towards a STEM related, more, a STEM related, or let's say computer science or so. But I like that you had a more of the, the English or so that was one of your favorite classes. And that's why, like I said, I really enjoyed your writing. It seemed like, you did well. So AP language. Now, let me ask you this. In your 12th grade now, what are you taking now?
I'm taking AP Physics 2,
Okay.
AP Macroeconomics, AP
Hmm.
Literature, and AP Calc BC.
Okay, AP Calc BC. Okay, great. So you are at Calc BC,
Yeah,
um, which is great. And did you have any aspirations to maybe try go higher with your calculus?
yeah, I did.
Oh,
I
okay.
tried, I took Calc 1 over the summer, like
Hmm.
last summer. So I
Yeah.
was going into school with the thoughts of going into Calc 2 and then doing Calc 3 in the spring semester.
Okay.
But that didn't really end up happening because Calc 2 was a really big time commitment. And
Right.
also the teacher I got wasn't really like, he was
And this was
definitely,
in community college, or was this so you were trying to take Calc 2 in community college,
yes.
but then did you decide to do it at school then?
Yeah, I had to make a decision like within a week, I think.
Okay. All right. Good, good. But at least you got to the BC level,
Hmm.
right? Now, out of all of the classes, let's say out of all of the classes in high school, which one did you enjoy the most?
I'd have to say my AP language class.
Okay. Okay. AP
Yeah,
language.
I
Out of
think
all
all
of them.
my English teachers were pretty good at their
Okay.
job.
Okay. And then what languages today are you computer languages, programming languages, which programming languages are you familiar with and what do you know?
I know Python just because
Okay.
it's pretty basic. And then I've been taking a computer science course at the college that I go to for
Hmm.
like dual enrollment. So she uses Java.
Okay, yeah. Hmm.
And then
Hmm.
in AP Comp Sci A, we used JavaScript, I think, or it was
Right.
also Java.
Okay. It's
I
probably
forgot.
Java.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably Java. Okay.
And also like HTML, CSS, P5.play because of
Okay.
Girls Who Code.
Yeah, cool, cool. So let me ask you this specifically. So if there is a student out there, okay, and you're like, and you were able to give them recommendations on classes to take, all
Mhm.
right, because you've gone through most of these classes now, what classes do you think would you recommend?
I'd say your language classes, the AP
Mm,
Lit, AP Lang, I think they
okay.
really help with like communication.
Okay.
And like if you're
Okay.
doing college essays especially,
Okay.
I think building that kind of like skill in your writing
Interesting.
is really
Interesting.
important.
Okay. Okay. And then what about and what about from a technical perspective? Any suggestions from a technical perspective since you're going into computer science, right?
Mhm.
Was there any classes
Um,
that you thought were somewhat beneficial?
I think calculus right now is pretty beneficial.
Okay.
Just because I think calculus is the standard for most
Yeah.
schools. So you
Okay.
definitely need to have some background in it. And then
Sure.
as far
Sure.
as like science, I didn't really take AP Bio or AP Chem, but I think physics is a good choice just because it applies a lot of the math concepts you learn.
Yeah. Yeah. And we always say is with respect to physics too that AP Physics itself and physics is one of the hardest courses out there in the AP
Mhm.
curriculum. And so taking, the hardest courses out there really shows to the colleges that you can take on the rigor because when you're going to go to MIT, those are that's at the level of coursework that you're going to be taking, right? So do you feel like you're prepared to go into that type of rigor because of the classes that you took? And
Yeah, I think having great teachers in those classes is really important because they're the ones mostly setting you up.
Yeah.
And physics one really, really, I struggled a lot in physics one just because
Mm,
I was going into it for the first time and it was just a lot of formulas and like
right.
things you had to remember.
Yeah. And did it was your professor, I mean, sorry, your teacher, did it help? Would they help well
Yeah,
you prepare? Okay, great.
yeah.
Cool. Okay. So we went through the classes. Of course, you did well. I mean, it looks like you had good grades, throughout, which was amazing. And again, we always say, the three A's is, academics, activities, and then the application itself. So let's talk a little bit about your activities. And so, can you just go down the list of the things that you did with respect to the activities that you got involved in so that people
Mhm.
out there can kind of understand what you did?
Yeah. So my main two activities I would say are Roblox game development. I made a lot of 3D art like commissioned by people to like
Wow.
make stuff for their games and like their YouTuber. Like some of them had like a YouTube career and then they would ask, "Oh, can you make this accessory?" And then I
So explain that for the non-Roblox people out there, right? Explain what that process looks like to us. Like, what does that mean when you say people have commissioned you to do things? Okay.
So I learned the 3D modeling software. So
Okay.
then people on since Roblox is like a 3D based game, it's not 2D.
Mm-hmm.
Peop like developers have to make their own 3D assets or like just
Right.
like 3D things
Right.
themselves put into their games. So
Okay.
game like smallest game studios commission me to make stuff for their games and
Wow.
then also content creators who wanted to put out accessories commissioned me to make 3D models for them because they were obviously content creators, so they didn't put in the time to learn the software.
Wow. And how did they get in touch with you? Like, how did they get to know who you were to even get to that?
So over COVID, I was with my family computer and on Roblox, I didn't have like the currency to like
Mm,
buy like in-game advantages and like accessories. So
right.
then I saw that 3D modeling was something that I could do to like gain that currency for free, basically. And
Oh,
then
I
after that,
see.
I posted my like creations on social media and then they
Okay.
got in touch with me from there.
Wow. So you basically took the initiative, learned freelance, right? That's the
Mhm.
three, and then created certain things, put it out there, and then people saw that and they're like, "Wow, I really like that. Could you do stuff for me?"
Mhm.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so now you're a Roblox famous game developer. What else were you involved in? What else did you get involved in?
And then when I transferred over to my new school in the middle of freshman year, I got involved with the Asian student organization at my school.
Hmm.
So then
Okay.
I joined as a member, but then the next following year I became vice president.
Okay.
And then I was vice president for 2 years.
Okay.
And in junior year I did the technology management stuff for the organization as a whole. So we have like
Okay.
several different chapters in
Okay.
California and across the nation. So then I
Wow.
became a technology manager and now I lead the thing, like the whole thing.
Wow. And this is nationwide?
It's mostly California, but
Mostly California.
we
Okay.
do have chapters outside.
But it's with, I mean, basically it's the entirety of the association, not
Mhm,
just like your high school chapter.
mhm.
And so why was that important with respect to the Asian Youth Leadership Association? Why was that important that you joined that and be part of that?
So I basically moved from somewhere that was pretty like diverse and like embraced culture very
Hmm.
often, but
This
then
was in your previous high school, right?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
got it.
Like
Hmm.
previous city, previous high school. And then when I
Okay.
got to somewhere that was like more suburban and like kind of like closed off in his like own bubble, I would say.
Okay.
It became kind of hard to like embrace that kind of culture. And
Okay.
like my since I was like young, my parents always like said like, "Oh, you should like do things with your like culture. You should get involved and stuff
Right.
like that." And then since I didn't have the opportunity myself to like get involved
Okay.
here, like I kind of
Uh-huh.
had to find initiative to join
Oh,
something that was already here,
okay.
and then like go into the leadership myself.
Excellent. And so I assume you're very proud of your heritage and where you come from and Urso. Is that correct?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, great. And I know that you mentioned you're, from Mongolian descent. So, um, it's great that you are able to represent for your particular, particular ethnicity. So that's incredible. What other, now, were you ever involved in, let's say, sports or anything, athletics?
Yeah, I've been doing swim for 10 years and
Oh,
I I decided that I didn't want to do club anymore, so I just did high school swim throughout
oh, okay.
throughout
So now, were you doing club swimming in high school, or you were doing that before high school?
I did that in my freshman year and then I quit after freshman year.
Okay, okay. And was that just because it wasn't interesting for you, or you just wanted to stay in high school swimming?
I think I just didn't find as much interest at it as I did
Okay,
before. Yeah.
got it. Okay. And so, did you do swimming the entirety of your high school career, or you just did it for some of the years?
I've done it throughout high school up
Great.
until now.
Okay. So you were a member of the high school swim team, and
Mhm,
I assume you competed in your high school swim team as well.
mhm.
And how did you do? Pretty
I
good?
did pretty good. Yeah, I think I did varsity for all 3 years, and we're waiting on season to start.
Oh, congratulations. And do you hold any positions there on the team?
Oh, not really. Just
Okay,
like
so
I just enjoy doing it for myself.
good. Okay, good. So you did an activity that you enjoy, that you have passion for.
Mhm,
Okay. I and then what other ones I see here? Girls Who Code. So can you
mhm.
talk a little bit more about, that organization and what you did there?
So Girls Who Code, basically they have a lot of summer programs,
Hmm.
and I knew that I kind of wanted to go somewhere in like tech, computer science. So I did their program for the first time after ninth grade summer.
Okay.
So
Okay.
then there I learned like web design and like
Okay.
how to like make your own website. And then the
Right.
following year I joined I think a self-paced program where I did cybersecurity stuff.
Okay.
And
That's
then
awesome.
now last summer I did a game design course that they newly introduced and I thought that was pretty interesting as well.
So
So
were
I've
these
been
courses you took, and did you have any opportunity to like pass on that information to other girls or other members of the club or so,
um
or the organization?
so there was a club at my school, but we didn't do much outside, I would say, but we did have like meetings that we would choose like a topic to like the members would choose a topic for us to talk about,
Great.
and
Okay.
we went into that topic.
Nice. Okay. And then what other activity? Because I know you have a laundry list of activities, but what else did you do? Why don't we just kind of go through those?
Uh-huh. I had to like take care of my siblings over the weekends and break. So
Oh,
that was
okay.
a
So you had
large,
family responsibilities.
yeah, family
Okay.
responsibilities, time,
Mm-hmm.
like it was a large time commitment. And
Mm. Okay.
then from there, I did a little bits of volunteering and tutoring,
Okay.
and then
And what were you tutoring in?
tutoring just like K through 12, just in any like topic that I've done before.
So was that like math, science, and other
Math,
things?
science, language, just overall.
Cool. And was that at the high school, or was that at you were tutoring like younger students?
I did some at my high school summer school, but it was also younger students at the local library.
Oh, at the library. Okay, okay. And then I did see you did have a little bit of work actually.
Yeah, yeah.
And what did you do there?
I was a I am a lifeguard slash swim instructor now, but I had a previous seasonal job last summer where it was
Okay,
just lifeguarding, but now I do swim instruction, mostly swim instruction, not so much as
great.
lifeguarding.
Well, if you look at all of your activities and what you're doing, that's amazing because you have such a diverse makeup of activities where, the game designer, representation of your culture in Asian youth, but even more so, you became a technical representative, which is amazing. um, Athletics, where you were on the swim team, Girls Who Code, doing community service and tutoring, which again, we always say that, teaching and mentoring and instruction is really looks really great on your application. And then of course working, getting paid for it, but
Mhm.
doing it within the lines of what you love to do, which is swimming.
Mhm.
So um, let me ask you this. If you were going to, so there's a individual out there, a student that's out there, what would you recommend from an activity standpoint, that they should get involved in, or what recommendations would you make?
I think having at least one activity dedicated to like your major, I guess, is
Okay.
pretty good. And then having most of your activities, I think, should be something that you're passionate about. And if you can find a
hmm
niche within them, I think that can make it a little bit more stronger.
Wow, that's amazing. Like what was, and so just to give you, what was your niche that you found in
I
in your passion?
I think it was um computer science, but more like deeper into computer science was the game development aspect.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
And with the game development aspect, like how did that open your mind? Was it because of the creativeness of it, or
Mhm.
was it the technical piece? Like what was it that really inspired you?
I think it was the technical and the creative kind of like blended together. It wasn't
Okay.
just like technical like coding. It was also like you could
Okay.
add your art into it and like yeah.
Okay. But is it mainly that you did these activities because you followed your passions?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it seems like, again, but with the depth and the breadth of your activities, I can see how they are in line with who you are and what you've done.
Mhm.
And that's the thing. But and did you ever try to do anything that you thought, well, gosh, would look good on my application, but I'm not really interested in it?
Yeah, maybe like research. I tried applying to like research things
Oh, you
and
did? Okay.
then I don't think I really wanted to do that just in high
Mm,
school. Maybe like in college I'd enjoy research, but in high
okay.
school it just seems a little bit too much.
Okay. So you just said forget about it, but you pursued, stuff that you were passionate about.
Mhm.
Okay. So, let's talk about the summers. Okay. Just really quickly. What filled up your summers? Like what were the things that you did during the summers while you were out of school?
So this summer I took Calc 1 at Sierra
hmm
at
hmm
my community college,
hmm
and then I also worked alongside that. I did Girls Who Code as well.
Yeah,
And then I kind of just like planned out my senior year in a way, and obviously got started with essays. And
of
then
course.
in my previous summers, most of it is just like I did a lot of Girls Who Code, but then also like relaxed, kind
Okay.
of had an idea of what I wanted to do in the next year.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, and mostly taking care of my sisters. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. Because that was a main thing, is a big thing is family responsibilities, which I
Mhm.
think was part of some of the things that you wrote about in your essays, right? Is
Um,
or
I think it
or
was in
as
my UC, but not my MIT.
right, 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 right. Okay. Now, so um how let's talk about your college list.
Mhm.
So, do you mind sharing what your college list was like, or just the ones that you applied to? We're still
Um,
waiting, so we're just, but
yeah.
yeah.
Well, obviously I applied to MIT and then I
hmm
applied to most of the UCs except for Riverside and Merced.
Okay.
And then I did four CSUs. I think it was SJSU. um,
Hmm.
Cal Poly,
Okay.
and then SDSU, and then one more, oh, Cal Poly Pomona.
Cal Poly Pomona. Okay,
And
great.
then I had several other schools on that list, like Ivies and
Okay.
just like private schools mostly. But then after getting in, I kind of just scratched those
Oh, okay. So because you heard from MIT so, early,
so
right?
early, yeah.
Yeah, so early. Now, for MIT, was it early decision or early action?
MIT only has early action, I believe.
Early action. Okay, good. Okay. So now let me ask you this with respect to the college list, um, uh, and well, specifically the essay process. Let's talk about that.
Mhm.
How was the process of college essays? Like, can you guide us through what your thoughts were? How you went about it. What was that process for you?
For me, I had like the idea of like getting started early, but um, as I was like writing, and then I kind of felt like, oh, this isn't good enough, or I
Mhm.
just felt like I didn't feel satisfied as I was like writing some of them, so then I had to like scratch and then restart. And I remember like our what's it called? The
The
college app
CAI?
intensive.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like really struggling with my UCSs and I was like, I don't know what to write. I don't know like which topic would be the best.
Hmm.
But we also had another like meeting after that on like kind
Yeah,
of like opening up a little bit deeper into like the broad topics that I wanted to do.
right.
And I think that definitely helped out a little bit. And then
Okay.
I think for me, most of the process was getting like bad writing out in the first, like,
Hmm.
in the first
Hmm.
couple of weeks. And then after getting that bad writing out, I just really thought about how to like focus my topic a little bit better and then
Okay.
connect it to like parts of my like character and like what I like to do.
Wow, that's great. So when you define like the bad writing, what is what do you define as bad writing?
Um, It was kind of like the general like, oh, I found this and I did
Yeah.
this, I did that, but it
Yeah.
wasn't like your why or like what
Mm,
motivated you to write like do that. Also
yeah.
like the bad writing didn't really have like good wording, I would say. My
Okay.
words were a
Okay.
little bit, my wording was a little bit eh.
Yeah. And so did it take a while for you to kind of get to that point of realizing what was bad and what was good?
Yeah, it took me like maybe like a month into
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
writing. Yeah.
So that helped you that you started a bit early so that you could kind of get out of that mode per se,
Mhm.
and then you could get on the path of writing. Because I remember seeing your essays, and first of all, they weren't that bad, frankly, when you first started. But I'm saying is that, but I did see there was potential there, and I did see that there were some really great topics in there.
Mhm.
So it's funny that you say, bad writing versus good writing, but definitely it was a process, right?
Mhm.
It wasn't the case where you could have picked this up, a week before the application was due and really have an effective essay, I assume.
Yeah. Yeah.
You needed that time, right?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So when did you start your essays? 'Cause technically, when did you start really looking at your essays?
So like after the college app intensive,
Okay.
I think that's when I was like, oh, I really need to get serious now. And
When
then
was that? Because I know we had it during the summer, so it had to be sometime during the summer. Was
like
that like
July, I think.
July-ish? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So you started technically in July and then you kept
Mhm.
progressing all the way, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
And then after like I got into school, started spending I started committing more time to it. So like
Okay.
after school, I'd sit in the library and try to get like at least
Mm,
like a piece of my writing done, like a piece of one essay. And then
okay.
it was just a lot of time at the library writing
How much time do you think you spent like every day on your
every
essays? Once you start
day.
getting, yeah, then once you start get going with it.
Um, it was kind of inconsistent. It was like
Hmm.
in waves,
But on
but
average, on average.
on average, maybe like an hour of
An
writing,
hour a day?
like
Okay.
30 minutes to an hour a day. But on
Yeah.
the days where I really needed to like get something done, it was like more so
Mhm.
like 3 to 4.
Right, right. But I mean, it was the case where it was consistent. It wasn't
Mhm.
the case where did that help that consistency and, getting revisions and all that did that help?
Mhm. And like the deadlines that were like set in place to like
Hmm.
and stuff, I think those really helped as well.
Good. Okay. So I'm going to be a little selfish here because, and just ask the question is, how did our team help you with this process? Like, what was the benefit of joining again, the college application intensive and then interacting with our coaches? And you can name coaches if you want to. So
Mhm.
just go ahead.
Okay. I didn't really join college or like eco
Yeah, well, it's
as
college application. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
yeah.
college admission secrets. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I didn't really join up until like I think the spring of my junior year, so I was
Right.
just about to start my
Right.
12th grade.
Hmm.
Um, so I mo the one thing I was really like worried about was my essays.
Hmm.
And as I was applying to like summer programs, I like realized, oh, like my essays they aren't cut out for this. I was like,
Yes.
oh, I definitely need more help on this. So then
Okay.
after I joined CAS,
Hmm.
I mostly met up with Coach David,
Yes.
and I think it was really helpful to have someone to like talk to about like my process and like what I was thinking going into
Hmm.
it.
Okay. Okay.
And when my 12th grade started, most of my extracurriculars and like grades were pretty much like set. So it was really
Right.
mostly like the writing portion of my application
Okay.
and having like the essay edits and the college app intensive
Hmm.
were definitely like my like biggest takeaway from the program. So yeah.
Okay. And what was like the major impact that our team made was that you think was the most valuable out of the process?
I think like relieving the anxiety behind it and also like setting like fake deadlines, not like true like the college application deadline,
Right. Right.
like deadlines for the essays to like really get me going.
Yeah, because we normally dictate, early action, you got to get it done October 1st,
Mhm.
UCs get it done November 1st. And then December 1st is is the last part of it, right? So
Mhm.
um which is the regular admissions. And did you find that um were you surprised by the revisions that our coaches provided to you, or was it like, oh yeah, I get it, you know?
Yeah, it was definitely like, oh yeah, I get it. I just need to
Yeah.
like it wasn't like I didn't go in thinking my essays were the best, so I
Okay.
didn't really have much to like take on from that.
Okay. So what was the biggest lesson that you learned from the essay, the process?
Mm. I think it was you're not gonna write like a good essay right off the bat. Like it
Okay.
definitely comes with like some time and
Okay.
also being open to suggestions. Aside
Okay.
from like the college admissions team, I also got um like edits from my AP Lang teacher
Okay.
who I really liked going to her class and stuff.
Yeah.
So having her opinion, like someone in real life that
Yeah.
knows more about my like character and like seeing if it
Okay.
like was actually like me.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. So um curious is if you were going to give so you have, let's say, students that are listening in right now, right? And you were going to give some tips on just the entire process, right? Of 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade or so. What would be some high end tips that you would suggest to them with this whole college admissions process?
I think number one is stay focused with your extracurriculars. I
Mm,
know a lot of people try to like do like a lot of extracurriculars, but then
right.
when you have a lot of extracurriculars, it doesn't really seem like you're really interested in any of them, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, sure,
It
sure,
kind
sure,
of
of
like
course.
it's kind of like spreading yourself thin, I would say.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
putting in most of your time and efforts into like one or two that you really care about, I think
Mhm.
that's my that was one of my main strengths when I was applying
Okay.
to schools. So they saw a lot of like, oh, she really likes to do these two things. And
Mhm.
compared to like, oh, if I had like 15 different extracurriculars that I didn't really like
Yeah.
like doing, that
Yeah.
would seem a little bit like
Sure. And it spreads yourself thin, right? I mean, and,
mhm.
and you really you can't I guess I don't know how you can enjoy that because there's just so
Yeah,
many things you're doing, right? So
yeah.
yeah. And then what would you suggest? And this is a suggestion to parents that are listening out there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
To parents, um, I think trust your children with
Mm.
the college admissions program or
Hmm.
like the college admissions process itself.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know some parents they like to like linger around and like they're like, "Oh, did you get this done?" Or like the
Yeah.
deadline's so soon, did you get it done? Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think my parents, what helped for me was that they kind of like left me on. So they like allotted time for me to spend at the library after school.
I
And
see.
they just like, I didn't take care of my siblings as much during my like essay writing like time.
Sure.
So they just like had me be at peace while I was like doing my applications. And
Got
they
it.
didn't really bug me about like, oh, are you applying to this school? Are you applying to that? Oh, the
Hmm.
deadline's so soon. Did you finish?
Yeah.
They just kind of like trusted me and gave me
Yeah.
the time I needed to
Yeah. So they gave you the time so that you didn't necessarily have to have all the responsibility of taking care of their siblings so that you had the time to focus on your essays or so. Is that okay?
Mhm. And
So,
also like
mhm.
no, not as much pressure because I heard from like some of my friends that their parents really pressured them into
Yeah,
doing certain schools or certain applications. So I'm really glad that they didn't like burden me with
got
that.
it. Got it. Okay. All right. So are you open to some questions?
Yeah,
Would you
yeah.
be okay with that? Because I see some questions, and if you're on with us, please add the questions to the question and answer or to the chat. Um, Again, we have Juliana here who made it to MIT, and also I'm again I know that you had some other acceptance as well, but
Oh,
you know.
I don't
So
think that I don't think I've gone in. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. So
Yeah.
then, but MIT was amazing. I mean, what can you do
Mhm.
with that, right? So MIT, but a couple of questions that we have here is first of all, did you take the SAT, ACT?
Yeah, I took the SAT.
Okay. And I assume you did well.
Yeah.
You had to do well.
Yeah.
Usually, so and do you mind sharing your score or what you got on your SAT?
It was in the 1500 range. Yeah.
Good, 1500 range. Good. And that's normally what we say is, again, for those type of caliber of schools or so. And another person was asking about, and it said weighted GPA, but again, I know you did very well
Mhm.
with your GPA, and it was is fairly high. Again,
Mhm.
so that's great. Another person asked here is, how did you study for the SAT, ACT?
So for the SAT, using the resources that the College Board themselves gives you is really important.
Mm,
The Blue Book software. The
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
the Blue Book is really helpful for taking like practice tests. So
Okay.
if you don't have like the physical book itself to do practice problems, you can use Khan Academy to do like maybe like 10 practice problems a day. And then once you feel comfortable enough, I did like a practice test maybe once every like 3 to 2 days when I was preparing
Hmm.
for my test.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Another question here is, have you visited the MIT campus? And if so, what did you enjoy or like about the environment?
So initially I wasn't gonna apply to MIT because I
Oh,
thought like the culture wouldn't be a fit. Like
Okay.
oh, there's like people who do a lot of homework and like and
Okay.
they love science a lot. They love math a lot.
Uh-huh.
So I wasn't gonna apply, but then my mom took me on like a trip to like the East Coast where like some schools are. So our
Yeah.
first stop of the trip was MIT and I was like, oh, whatever. Like I'm just gonna go through this.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like acting like not interested
Okay.
and like yeah. So at first I was like kind of annoyed that I had to be there. But
Hmm.
as I was going on the tour, we did the official tour from
Yeah.
MIT, and I had a tour guide who was very like definitely not like the stereotypical MIT student.
Okay.
So, he was like a ballet dancer, DJ on the
Oh,
weekends, and he did computer
wow.
science. He just did a lot of different things that I wouldn't expect him to like do.
Okay.
Once he was like, "Oh yeah, at MIT I was able to explore all these different things." He's also a polyglot. He speaks five languages.
Oh,
So
wow.
I was really impressed by like my tour guide, but then as he was like speaking about his like friends and
Okay.
it's like the people at school, I thought it was just really interesting that oh, these people aren't just like typical like
Hmm.
you know. I think it added another dimension to it, and the campus
Hmm.
itself, it might
Hmm.
seem a little bit bland on the inside, but if you like go in and like look at the exhibits or like the little like pieces of writing they have around, it's just really
Hmm.
interesting. Another thing is that I think Boston itself is a really nice place to
Oh, yeah. Boston's a
study.
great city.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of different schools and lots of good food, and the
Okay.
nature is really nice.
That's good. Well, so first of all, I don't think there's any more questions here, but we're just so excited for you, so
Mhm.
proud of you that all of your hard work that you put in for school, and all the hard work that you put in for your application, turned out well.
Mhm.
Um, I'll ask the question is, if you had to do it all over again, would you do it?
Yeah, because right now I'm like I don't really have a lot of things to stress over except for just like going through school. And
Sure, sure.
I think early acceptance definitely helped with that. I think
Okay.
that's a really good decision if you think you're ready to
Yeah.
send in your application. And yeah, I'm really happy where I ended up, and I'm most likely gonna be going to MIT.
Okay. And I'll ask the question, of course, is are you happy that you joined Eagle and went through our process in the program?
I was definitely scared to like do it on my own.
Hmm.
Before joining CAS, I was like,
Hmm.
oh, I'm not really confident in my essay writing,
Yeah.
even though like I went through like AP Lang and like so many different like writing things. But when you write about yourself, it's way different from like school,
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
So having someone to like help me look over my essays and like reassure that, oh, it's not as bad as you think was definitely helpful.
Right. Right. Any last words for the people that are online here, or last words for about the process, or your future and what you want to do?
Um, I'd say like interviews. Interviews are
Mhm.
really important. I had
Yeah.
an MIT interview and
Oh yeah. So how did that actually, let's again, we have a little bit of time. What tell us
Mhm.
about the interview. Tell us what was it like and what you did.
I was really scared at first. Like when I got the email, my hands were like shaking. I was like, oh, I got an interview, but now I don't know what to do. Like I'm scared for to like talk to someone who was like
Okay.
already graduated and he had
Yeah.
my interviewer had a lot of experience with interviewing kids for MIT. He had like 10 years or like 15
Wow.
years. So I
Okay.
was like, oh, he's seen so many students, like what is he gonna see in me, right?
Hmm.
And so before the interview, I kind of like searched up, oh, what do typical like MIT interviewers ask of their students? And also
Right.
Coach Michelle helped me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she told me that like most of your questions will stem from the tell me about yourself. question in the
Yes.
beginning. And she was like, "Oh, they just really want to get to know you and like
Mhm.
don't be like a normal person having a normal conversation."
Right,
Yeah.
right,
It's
right.
not like you shouldn't be like putting them up on like a pedestal. It's like talk to them as if you are talking to like a counselor or a teacher and also like be interested in what they're saying as well about the school or like their career and like why they're doing the interviews and stuff like that.
That is great, great advice. All right. Well, again, Juliana, we're just so thrilled and happy for you. Thank you so much for coming on and with this interview and coming on and just giving your insight. We wish you so much luck and success, and we know that you're going to be doing great things at MIT, and hopefully, in a year from now or something, we can interview you again and see how the MIT experience is.
Yeah.
And good luck with MIT and good luck with all other acceptances as well, because I know that you're going to do great. And thank you so much for getting on with us today. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. And thanks for everybody who joined us. And again, we appreciate, you being part of the program and just opening yourself up, being open to our advice. And so I hope again, wish you much luck and congratulations.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, have a wonderful night. See you later. Take it easy,
Bye
Juliana. Good
bye.
luck. Okay, bye-bye.